it's still very strong, still the same, I would say. The momentum has continued. We're not seeing a summer decline like we normally do, so I think the pent-up demand is still there. And luckily, it's so hot outside, I think people are staying on the casino floor to get some air conditioning.
Yeah, it's even better. So traditionally, these would be a slower months, right?
Yeah, June and July usually see a little dip into August, and then we pick back up in September. But we're seeing some consistent numbers and some increase in hotel occupancy. You know, some extra conventions going on that, you know, they're packing in, you know, that they missed out on in the last year. And then obviously NIGA coming up is going to be exciting to have some casino people back in town.
Yeah, that'll be great, and I'll be in town for that too. So, tell me a little bit about the conventions. Did you see when you had those conventions? Did you see a lift in your weekday?
Absolutely, weekdays continue to get stronger. You know, every week going for about the last 8 to 10 weeks, I would say, where we're seeing pickup week over week.
So that convention business is coming back, and you're really seeing it, right?
Yeah, and I think we're seeing just some summer travel too, where people are realizing there's some opportunities for them weekdays with, you know, a lower price point for them.
Right, I see. And then of course Vegas has something for everybody. That's the big news.
Whatever yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing more and more things opening up. You're hearing about more shows. Obviously, we had the big Garth Brooks concert that drove a lot of traffic, a lot of people to town. You know, I find it you know, hilarious every week looking at the Nevada traffic cams of the backup of people going back to California on Sunday mornings.
Oh yeah, no, you can't get caught in that traffic jam when things are cooking. It'll take you 10 hours to get home. I've been a victim of that. So tell me a little bit about, is there anything that you can see here in the near future that might derail this this surge, so to speak?
You know, I don't think so. I think, you know, as long as government agencies continue to allow us to operate the business, I think people are making, you know, choices for themselves, and they're choosing to travel and have fun and stay safe.
Now, are you seeing any different trends other than the surge from customers or their habits post-pandemic that you hadn't seen before?
Yeah, I think, you know, and it's trying to drill down on what exactly it is, but we're seeing longer time on device. You know, even still now with shows opening up and restaurant availability, I was a little worried that some of that spend was going to get spread out to the nightclubs now that they're back open, or the shows, but we're still seeing time on device stay longer, and people really enjoy the gambling aspect of their vacation.
Right. So yeah, and also with the weather, like you said, they have to stay inside, and that's not a bad thing for us.
No, it's a great thing. It's been unseasonably warm even for Vegas.
Now, in terms of the conventions, are there bigger ones booked? Because I know some of the ones you had were relatively small, but let's say like the IBMs or like the big behemoths. Are they coming up in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, back into their normal time slots for some of them, whether it be SEMA or CES. You know, I've heard our vice president of sales say there's room blocks out there, and they're talking to all these people. So they're all planning on putting on their shows back on their normal time frames.
Now, there has been some talk about, you know, the variant, and especially in Vegas. Is that something that you're having internal discussions about, if something should happen?
Yeah, obviously we're seeing it, and we're following the CDC guidelines and the health district, and you're seeing on the news the case positivity going up. But I think the encouraging thing is the majority of the hospitalizations are among unvaccinated people. So, you know, the people that are vaccinated, I'm hoping, are the ones that are traveling and the ones that are here at work. I know we have a large percentage vaccinated, so I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to continue to operate.
So are we looking at a blowout New Year's like we've never seen?
You know, it's interesting. The 4th of July is as big as I've seen it. The fireworks show was amazing.
Wow.
And then, you know, in the weekend after, you were hoping for a, you know, not a drop off like you would normally see, and we're still pretty strong on the weekends with travel. So I would hope it continues to build, and, you know, especially once international travel comes back, once, you know, we can get a hold of all these variants and the vaccines can get spread across the world, and we start seeing, you know, Southeast Asia traveling back to Vegas, see Europe traveling back to Vegas, South America. You know, it'd be great to have some of those dollars instead of us just recycling our own money amongst our economy.
Yeah, no, that is on the horizon. I know a lot of countries have opened up. Hiring is still an issue?
You know, again, I'm not having an issue in the gaming area, but yes, it is a big issue in ancillary departments, security, pool lifeguards, things you don't think about. There's just doesn't seem to be enough bodies willing to work right now. I know I just read a story that a couple of the states that have started to decline the federal unemployment assistance, all of a sudden all their jobs started to get filled. So, there's every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I think people are just finding that they don't need to work right now because of government assistance. So I'm hopeful that we can really start to get some people back.
Brian, so how do you deal with the lack of people? Do you just curb hours, shut down venues? I mean, how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's creative scheduling. It's really, loading up on the weekends and your peak hours at night. But yeah, unfortunately, we are seeing some outlets, from time to time have to close for a few hours here and there because we just don't have the staff for it.
Brian, from an overall point of view, where you're sitting right now, and you've been in the game a long, long time, how do you feel about things moving forward? And how do you feel about things now from, an overall point of view?
I'm incredibly optimistic and bullish on Vegas and gaming in general. I think the next 18 months are really going to be great. I'm adding things to the floor. We are still seeing that as, a supply chain issue is hit the gaming manufacturers as well. So lead times on getting machines or equipment is falling behind. But I think we are full steam ahead. And I really think, like I've said previously, I'm hopeful that we gained a generation of people that found gaming as a leisure activity, whereas maybe they used to go to the movies or they used to go to the beach, and now they find this is something they can do for their excitement.
Yeah, well, we've definitely grown our base, and that's a byproduct of the pandemic. We never really knew that it was happening, and then when we caught on to it, we're giving them those experiences. So that's a growing thing. And hey, Vegas is back in a big way. We all know that. Like you said, the international travel, conventions, once those are back in place, it's going to be gangbusters. Brian, I'm so glad you guys are doing well. I'm so glad that Vegas is back in a major way. Great to have you on the show. Looking forward to having you back on.
Absolutely. The pleasure as always. Thanks, Tina.